presentation, right?
How do you determine a change? Like, what were you defining as a change? Like a change to a program, a change to a physical application?
Yeah, exactly. We have different types of changes. So one is obviously a program that can be changed. Another thing could be a pricing procedure that has changed, something like that, or a GL account.
She matches. So you know what, when we were auditing last, the baseline, she matches to it. If it's different, it's changed. And then you have an analysis.
Okay, last question.
I'm just wondering how long did it take you to develop that change?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So actually we started out summer, fall 2008. And we started doing the first audits early 2009. And we are more or less done by end of this fiscal year, which is right now actually.
When did you pull out of the audit? Was that summer 2008? Yeah, so this came out, the draft came out in winter of 2000, right? And then you started doing the application control audits to find out what is it that's going to change. And then we pulled her deliberately out of the audits in around June to be ready for next fiscal year.
Yeah, so you can say 1 year.
Yeah, could be. It depends on the program. Some of them are logic, and some of them are just configurables.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. I'm from Brazil, actually. Itau Unibanco is right now through a huge integration project. We just merged. So what I have here is some projects that Professor Miklos and other projects that even Unibanco had already taken previously that I would like to share with you guys. And there are some differences between the Brazilian market and the American market that should be counted on this. But I'm very glad to discuss with you. And what we have here, it's basically we have our agenda, but basically we have branch monitoring. I set some numbers here for benchmark purpose, so you can try to compare my bank with your company. And in this sense, what we try to do in branch monitoring is to take after the mapping, risk mapping, we try to select the most risk transactions that are performed on the branches. In more and more, we get to the conclusion that our branches in Brazil are becoming more a store, actually, more than operational branch. So it makes a lot of difference too. The Transitory Accounts project is one that's being developed with Professor Miklos, and Young Bun is going to help us with some numbers, okay? And there is some final remarks that we'd like to do in the end. So just to let you know, we are among the 20 biggest banks in the world, okay? We have a total, that's reais number, but if you can make the math, it's $1 is 1.7 reais. So it means that we have total assets of around $400 billion. And assets under management around $200 billion and so on, okay? I have better numbers to show you right there. Nowadays, we service our clients in 38,000 points, running from ATMs, that's the bottom line, that's both banks together has a 30,000 branches, 30,000 ATMs in the whole country, okay? We have around 6,000 branches in all different forms, from the smallest one that is placed in a school like this, to others that open on the streets, okay? So it's a huge number and different channels that distribution that we need to cover in this sense. We have an international presence, and mostly in the South America part, but we have some representation, some securities companies around the world too. Our main operations are in Argentina, besides Brazil, we are in Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay and Paraguay. I came to US also to make some benchmarks, so I put some numbers here that help you to compare us to. So we just made the merger. It's 10 months old. We have 100,000 employees and more than 20 million account holders. We have a team of 350 internal auditors. After the merger, we just start to report directly to the president of the board. In Brazil, we have different persons running the presidency of the board and the CEO. So down there is 2 different people. And we just used this opportunity to change and reevaluate our project related to continuous auditing. I would love to present you this next time I actually come here.
Next time we'll
Yeah,
do more.
Lily's not gonna let me present this right now, so let's go on. What we have on branch monitoring, we select 17 most riskier transactions. And in this case, we run against the 1,400 branch that we have at Unibanco. So it's a partial view of our project right now, okay? But it gives you the right sense on how we are on continuous auditing in our bank. And for automatization purpose, we hired IBM to make part of the project. He helped us to the ETL part from extracting data from our main servers and implement some automatization of the calculation of the indicators, okay? Basically, what we have here is around 5 million customers through transactions go through this system. It's still functioning because while we don't change all the branches to the new model we have at the bank, we're still running the systems, the indicators. Usually we get from these indicators usually the most common is to detect errors. Sometimes they change systems, line of the systems, and it gets to start to get different transactions going through the systems. So we usually get, for example, one client that usually does certain types of transactions that actually get 2 or 3 times his account limit. And then we go question why it happened. And usually we get a response that it was run a different job on the system and it allowed him to do that. We have this situation to try to stop wrong behavior coming from the salespeople from our branches. So if he sells a lot, it doesn't mean that he's actually a really good seller. Sometimes there's some problems to fake sales and so on. Try to reduce financial losses. This number, I don't have a specific number for you on how much we save using this kind of technology. But it's implicit that we have some kind of savings here. On the other hand, we select some low-hanging fruits projects, like Professor Miklus likes to say. We have the main results come from these 5 indicators. So I brought you some graphics so you can try to get the sense how well it worked. We have some indicators on customer advance. So we have a gap, a window of opportunity for some clients that could make larger credits from our borrowing from our bank, and we actually need to cover that. Excess over credit limit, returned checks, bounced checks. We have I think that the most interesting part is the federal tax payment cancellations that I will explain for you later. I think that most projects start with a graphic like this. When the internal auditing team does not know exactly what's going to get from the indicators, so they start to dig in. And what happens at the beginning from 2005, 2006, we couldn't track all the transactions. We didn't have all the transactions through the filters. And after we started the project with IBM, it was a really good opportunity to review our indicators. And what happened that could be more consistent after a while. Those 3 lines, basically what it means is that we still auditing around 72 most riskier transactions through our systems. most of them doesn't need any type of follow-up